Yeah, fall back too close. You ain't even know me. Trust my brothers from way back from the north. Me and the old, and then like they owe me.
Yeah,
Cause there's 3 different cameras, you know.
so
we
just
busting
chopping,
it.
and then all
We
the
busting
angles,
it.
and
We might
it's gonna catch the angles anyway.
like this the only
It's gonna
camera
catch
we
the
gonna
angles.
look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This one. This the one we gonna look at. But other than that, we talking to each other.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I
I
mean?
like
And then here and there we look at the camera. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Hey yo, this is gonna be dope because I've been wanting to interview you for a long time. You know that, right? Seriously, like I'm an interviewing type of dude. I can shoot them rapid questions.
No
He
doubt.
nice too. He was getting the young boy. I was loving that, and he was going for the cuff too because I only gave him like 3 questions. He asked him like a dub. Before we get started, man, I'm just gonna tell you, I admire you, bro. I do. I see the struggle. I see the hustle. I see the achievements, man. You know, and congratulations on the baby girl, man.
Golden.
Yes, man. Shout out to Golden. You know, I really like seeing what you're doing because a lot of people can't relate to people who they already see in the rafters. They already see them up there already. You know, so people don't really get a front row seat. You know what I mean? To like what it really takes to make it. You know what I'm saying? And you making it already. You're in the process. You're a story in the making, a success story in the making. And at this moment, I'm just saying that I'm glad that I caught up with you now. You know what I mean? Because I know it's gonna be hard to kind of, you know what I mean, get some of your time, man. When the world sees what Harrisburg is starting to catch note to, you know what I mean, and I congratulate you on the work that you do, man. You know what I mean, coming, you know what I mean, from where we come from.
No
True
doubt.
kudos, man.
Appreciate that, bro.
So first and foremost, man, let me ask you, how much time did you end up doing in prison altogether?
A quarter century straight.
A quarter. Woo. You said that, man. A quarter. Well, 25 years, man. Woo.
Yeah.
Yes, man. I look at some of these kids, man, now, and whew, they ain't even got 18, 19 years in
life.
Yeah. You know, and you already did their lifetime, you know, like behind bars. Do you believe that the time was justified?
To be honest, when it comes to that question right there, that's one that's kind of hard for me to answer because there's no justification for life.
Mm-hmm.
And or there's no way where I can say that was too much time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because a mother lost her son, a brother lost his big brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A sister lost her little brother.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everybody who lost what they lost from my project and my family, that's their truth. That's our truth, you know, because my family members lost what they lost.
Wow.
So that time, you know, when it comes to me evolving into the love of life, and then later after, you know, maturing into such, I dedicated myself to becoming a redemption seeker.
Wow.
So that's what makes it fair seeming, you know, because now I live to shine my light amongst the darkness and to lead our people out of these dark safe havens that's really graves and prison cells.
Wow. You know, that's deep, man, because you actually you make it easy for me to interview you for real because honestly, you said a mouthful just there. And so, but I'm gonna have to break down some of that because you mentioned the love of life. You mentioned, you know, a lot of other things that I really want to delve into to actually see because people, you know, see Bayah, but they don't really know what this is all about, man. They see you around, they see you doing good work in the community, they see every event. You know, they're going to have an appearance or a cameo from Bayah, or it ain't really an event for real. Like, you know, so at the end of the day, when we talk about people that's being active, we know you active. You know, people see you around, but I don't know if they know really truly the depths of what it is that you do. But before we go there, I got to take it back, because I think that the story really ain't really told, easily, about how, we transition. And, as a founder of a nonprofit myself, I actually, I work on helping people transition. You know what I mean? And I watched you as a transitioner, someone who's actually transitioned, and now you actually looking back, like Harriet Tubman. You know what I'm saying?
No
Like you
doubt.
got
Come on.
yourself free, and now you coming back, and you want the same for everybody else.
No doubt.
So I want to delve into how you got your muscles, because I used to be a movie buff,
No doubt.
and so I used to like the Batman joints, like that was my thing, and it was only because of like I was into the martial arts and stuff like that, and they used to have some nice fight scenes. I mean, the fight sequences with Batman says pow, that joint was always like that. So one of the Batmans, I think it was Batman Forever or Batman Returns. It was the dude Bane.
Yeah.
Bane.
Yeah.
Bane. I can relate to Bane's character, man. Bane said, "Man, y'all afraid of the dark."
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? He said, "I was created in that, man.
Yeah.
I was birthed out of that." You know what I mean? And so, did it get dark for you? And in that dark place when you was there, how did you recreate yourself out of that place? What did you do? What was your regimen?
So I stayed in the gym. I CrossFit mentally.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I executed some of the most strenuous workouts.
Wow. So you weren't no weekend warrior.
I was in it. I was in the gym cracking the concrete. So I say that by expressing the fact on how I was investing in my failures.
Wow.
People started telling me everything that they believed in me in regards to not believing in me.
Yeah.
And I started believing in myself. So when I was in them cells, I had to find my way out because I was calling for help and nobody came. So when I found out that it wasn't those people, it was me.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I saw that had the most profound effect on me, like you said, what was the things that changed me? And you allude to Batman. I allude to Hurricane Carter.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
when I saw the hurricane,
shout out the real hurricane.
No doubt, the real hurricane.
Yes.
So when I was in my cell watching this movie, and I saw how these people fought for him. You know what I'm saying? Because they read his book.
Yeah.
And they came inside them walls and felt his heart and held him, and he held them.
Yeah.
And, it changed their lives. So I watched that movie and I said, man, if people know my story, they'll fight for me like that too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll help save people's lives too.
Yeah.
So I began to write.
Okay.
I started writing.
All right.
And
hold on, not to cut you off, but were you a writer before you went to jail?
Nah.
Though you was in the street, you didn't even know you could write.
No, I was always a good talker.
Uh-huh.
As a child, being raised by a single mother, who had me when I was 16, we grew up together. And she would come to me with grown folks' business and ask me, like, babe, what should I do? Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. And I had to be a critical thinker. Yeah. So I was entrusted with grown folks' business when I was a child.
Okay.
And so many different things that caused me to think and feel things differently. My trauma, triggered something in me. And like I said, these people start feeding me destructive, no doubt, point of views and code of ethics and morals and rules of conduct. So maturing into the man that I am today inside prison came from me seeing so many of our people perish. Yeah. May have been by their own hands, the guards' hands, the cops' hands, and our loved ones' hands, because we out here killing ourselves.
That's a fact. Yo, man, stop the violence, y'all.
Stop the violence. Enough is enough.
Enough is definitely enough, man. Right. So, man, like you began writing. Was writing first a means to an end? Did you see yourself as a writer, or were you just, getting all your pain out? Was it therapy?
All right, so I started writing when I was in SCI Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and I was around some juggernauts: David Lee,
Mm-hmm.
James Sample,
Shout out old heads,
Willis,
man.
and Tyree. So these individuals were so phenomenally inside prison. They were so polished, sharp, and they was like they were professors. And I used to just sit under these guys, man, and just listen to them. And they used to read their spoken words, and it just struck a chord with me. My heart, my soul was crying out, and at the time I was a rebel. And I was writing from that pain, that hurt. And the Willie Methods had me, salivating at the mouth for blood, and I wanted to bite those walls and, make it bleed, because I wanted to be free. I come from a lot of trauma and pain. So I was writing from that perspective. And my brothers pulled me to the side and said, bro, you got to do something, man. You can't keep writing like that. They actually told me the people would lock me up for writing like that. You know what I'm saying? They come in your cell and find this stuff, you know what I mean? You get locked up. So they say you writing from too much pain. You gotta, you gotta free yourself, So I started thinking and feeling myself through my trauma. And that's how I started writing and how I became the love of life.
Wow. So you became the love of life. So can you explain the love of life? What does that mean and what does it stand for?
Well, I matured into the love of life by accepting the fact that I didn't love my life, that I didn't love my family enough to choose a life that put my life on the line every second of the day. So I evolved into a man that sought to become a father that I wasn't raised in the household with, to just foster life and progression. Too often we see success in our neighborhoods by the drug dealer and or the shooter that everybody loves and respects and or fears. And we buy into that. I know through my pain and causing so much pain in other people's lives that that's unacceptable. And I'll never invest in my failures again. And I live my life to make sure that your son and our daughters don't invest in their failures.
Wow. Brother said, man, he's not going to invest in his failures anymore. That's sharp, man. That's sharp, because we put a lot of stock into, the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like I spent a lot of time and energy plotting and planning and scheming. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because if you really gonna do it right, if you try to get to the, you're gonna put some time and some effort, some thought into it. And at the end of the day, man, it was all for my demise.
Exactly.
So, I was investing in my own failure. You know what I mean? I'm spending all of this time, because I know time, man. I spoke of time as opposed to money. Because when we talk about investments, we talking about investing paper, like some real money. If I put money, I'm investing in something. I'm gonna put some money into something. But we can invest the most precious thing, our time. You understand what I'm saying? And it seems like, man, you spent your time wisely, man. It seems like the time it refined you as opposed to confines you. You know what I mean? It refines you instead of you been put in a box and becoming, institutionalized. And this is a sad reality of a lot of people that go into the system, bro. You had more than 20 years in. At that point, sometimes, man, people get on repeat.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that they don't even recognize it. That they have all of this, effect of being trapped in a cage and trying to accept it and normalize something that's not normal. You know what I mean? That's an inhumane way of living.
Yeah.
To cage a person's mind. Oh man, it's just a terrible thing, man. So since you've been free, bro, first and foremost, how long have you been truly out?
March 16th
Mm-hmm.
is Redemption Day.
Wow.
I was released from SCI Camp Hill March 16, 2022,
Okay.
after serving 25 years in 6 different
All right.
penitentiaries. When we talk about what changed me and what forged me
Mm-hmm.
into the man that I am today, it wasn't the time.
No.
Like I said, I faced the death penalty at
Mm-hmm.
18,
Mm-hmm.
and then it didn't shake me. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't blinked not one time. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me,
Yeah.
and I was sentenced to 3rd-degree murder, which had nothing to do with my case.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
8 years into my sentence, I caught another case. Subhanallah, excuse me, misspoke speaking, saying court.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I victimized my people,
Mm-hmm.
and I caused so much pain in people's lives. And like I said, I was facing another 20 to 40
Wow.
for 3 counts of aggravated assault with bodily injuries
Mm-hmm.
on officers while performing their duties.
Mm-hmm.
And it became real for me that I was going to die in prison.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
Most importantly, it was the interaction I had with one of the officers' little brothers.
Mm-hmm.
He was end up being one of the most sincerest men
Mm-hmm.
that I've encountered in my
Wow.
life. With me assaulting his brother, he came to work seeking vengeance.
Yeah.
But he was too much of a good man, honorable stand-up man, that he wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Even though his partner kept trying to make him do it.
Wow.
But all in all, like I said, my time that was given to me wasn't enough. The pain that I was fighting through
Mm-hmm.
wasn't enough. I had to see and feel my people's pain
Yeah.
for me to mature into a man that sought to be forgiven.
No doubt.
And for me, it's something that I say, bro, when it come down to me seeking redemption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ask to be forgiven for my crimes,
Yeah.
because I don't have the right to do so.
Mm-hmm.
For me to ask to be forgiven, that's for me, that's me asking my victims for something,
Mm-hmm.
when I should be serving them.
Wow.
And obtaining redemption by my work,
Yeah.
not by the things that I say and how I present myself,
Mm-hmm.
but the work that I put in.
Yeah.
So that's why I created the Redemption Seekers.
Wow. Redemption seekers. So when you speak of the redemption seekers, is there a website or a place where they can find any
Yeah,
sign up and help you out, or volunteer to link up with you?
no doubt. Right now we're in the process of starting our website, developing it actually. We have a Facebook group
Okay.
right now,
Facebook.
Redemption Seekers.
Redemption
Yes,
seekers.
you can find me and
Mm-hmm.
anything dealing with the love of life at Bayah Thomas, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and or the love of life.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on some positive things, progressive movement here, with the love life movement
All
as
right.
well. Um, yeah, we got a lot of things that's about to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's going
Yes.
to be under the love of life or Bayah Thomas.
Yes. Are you like me? Like, I see, and this is sad, man, because it became so cliche that when I came home, I steered away from talking about working with the youth when I first came home, because it became so cliche when a brother come home, everybody says they want to just run back to the hood and want to go start preaching to people. I didn't want to be that guy, because to be honest, as much as I care about our neighborhoods, as much as I care about our people, I'm not a big fan of wasting my time and energy and wasting other people's time and energy. And I would rather do it, like, kind of shameless plug right here, do it the right way. That's my company. But, yes. And so basically I wanted to do it the right way. Um, what was your aim as far as giving back in the community? I know you just said redemption seekers. I know you have the love of life movement. You got the love movement. You know what I mean? So I see everything that you're doing. But when I say that, what's your not technique, but what's your angle?
Right,
Does that make sense?
No, I know exactly what you mean. And to clarify, um, my angle is I have no angle.
Okay. All right.
One of the biggest things that I bust out with the Love of Life movement was excuse my boldness while I speak my truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with 8 years old, being told that I'd be dead or in jail before I turned 21. At 9 years old, it became my reality when I found a dead body on my go-kart. True to the words that they used to tell me, I was facing the death penalty at 18. So it was what I believed.
Yeah.
What they were telling me.
Yeah.
What I saw. What became my reality.
Yeah.
And I invested into it. So these words, you'll be dead or in jail before you're 21, came from my teachers.
Wow.
Came from elders.
Yeah.
Came from the people that were entrusted to lead me and
yes,
guide me.
And speak life into you instead of death.
And that's what they done.
Yeah.
So I believe that. So I know the severity of telling a child, you're nothing. You're a thug. You're this, you're that. You only can be this. You can only be that. We'll believe it. And I know better. And I've been doing better for a long time because I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities. So I know when I was out there running, pushing them things, and I was one of those bulls. And I don't say that to but that's what it was. Yeah, like I really was Philly's most wanted. So when it comes down to actually saving a child's life, it comes from speaking life into them.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the Love of Life mission to speak life into our people.
Wow, that's deep, man. I want to reiterate that because it's so deep that I don't want it to blow across. I'm not going to disrespect the people that watch these videos. I know they sharp, but I want to emphasize what you just said, though. You know what I mean? You said that instead of like allowing what happened to you when you was a child, as far as because I believe that those early childhood experiences, like they really, really matter in shaping the trajectory of any child's life. Like you said, you had to go through the pen because you were already prophesied over or spoken over. You gonna be this person and this, that, and the third. And we as children who just like any other flower, any other thing, we actually shape and mold by the vibrations, and vibrations come from the energy that we speak. People speak over you, and so you're saying that that your angle, your approach is different. That's saying, okay, well, I learned how it negatively affected me, so I turn my words around and I speak life now, and that's why the love of life is so effective. I love that, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you said, man, because I think that was worth repeating. You know what I'm saying? So that's the now. What about the future? You know, because like, what do you visualize for Harrisburg, man? What's your vision for Harrisburg? I'm gonna ask you in 3 levels, so this is gonna be a 3-part question. When I say Harrisburg, I'm saying the hood. You know what I'm saying? The communities that's underserved, that's really not getting the appreciation and respect or protection they need. I'm talking about the hood. That's the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, the suburbs, like, of Harrisburg, because if we just concerned with our community,
Mm-hmm.
then we're not no different than everybody
Exactly.
else. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be focused on our community, but the surrounding communities, and yes, the sub communities as well. And finally, our so-called elected officials or leaders, not particular specific names. You don't got to say nobody, but as far as what you expect from them. Yeah.
Okay,
in the
so
future.
When it comes from the hood,
Mhm.
what I see in projection for Harrisburg is one Harrisburg,
Mhm.
and that is going to follow what I have to say in answering your third question. Um, when we come together and thrive
Mhm.
in those villages from yesteryears
Yeah.
and centuries ago, when it took a village to raise our children.
Mhm.
And, that's because we all invested in our children. We had the march last year, March 16, 2000, what was it? 23, to unify our forces, to magnify our positive impacts in our community. We come together and we invest in our children by educating them, being mindful of the traumas that we're being oppressed with, that they're being oppressed with, and the effects of such. When you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's for us to come together collectively and do better. Now, when it comes to the second part, the suburbs, or any community outside of urban communities, we want them to feel safe and not threatened by us. We want them to know what we've been oppressed with and the effects of such oppression and lack of education and funding and how it impacts their community.
Wow.
Because they say we come and we victimize them, but they're not aware of the effects of our trauma and how it's a holistic, systematic oppression that we have to restructure our lives around as a community.
So that's deep, man. So you said that as far as the suburbs, like the people that's not in our community, it's good to have dialogue with them so they can start to learn to empathize with the things that we go through, and we can empathize with the things they go through. So therefore, it'd be less friction and then more understanding. You know what I mean? I like that.
And less them against us.
Yeah.
Less they're going to kill us. We have to defend ourselves from us.
Yes.
And I've known this for a long time when I was incarcerated, and I saw a lot of police officers killing black men. And so every last one of them would get up there and say how they were so fearful for their lives, and they thought that the black man was going to kill them. And I was like, they cowards.
Yeah.
And they will say how the man who killed the cop or shot at the cop was a coward. But when the cops killed us, they say that they were in fear for their lives.
You know what I'm saying?
When we had no gun, we had no weapon.
Exactly.
It was a wallet, it was a cell phone, but you was in fearful of your life, and you killed an innocent boy. You was the coward.
You just said a mouthful there, man. If I can go on for days about that. That's something that I'm very passionate about. I lost my cousin Marco Cherry in 1985. Shout out to little Marco. This is my other cousin, his son. He's a grown man now, but he was choked out in front of me by the police, and then they said that he killed himself. You know what I'm saying? But I seen what they did. You understand what I'm saying? So for them to try to say, you know, like their integrity or their word is better than ours, you know, I know the level and the depths, you know, they can go. And so like that's personal, you know. And so when you say that, man, like we really need to defend ourselves and our community against that. And I think the mobilization of the youth and the elders, you know what I mean, to when we have an incident, we have a situation, we're there. Our kids getting bullied in school, we pulling up, you know, because honestly, man, we are our community.
No. And a lack of education um, is like the worst thing in our community.
True.
And as you asked, the suburban community,
Mm-hmm.
because they have an understanding that we choose this life and it's just what we into and this is who we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the truth. There's so many people that's not from where we're from that believe that we just um, want to sell drugs and believe we are less than.
Mm-hmm.
But too many of us haven't had a chance to
Mm-hmm.
do better.
That's true.
Someone asked me before, why didn't you do this, that, and the other instead of selling drugs and this? Why you ain't get a job? And I said, for all due respect, I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was doing what I was doing, I couldn't even get a job.
Legal job. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh well, you this, that, and the other. When you come from where I come from, too many people don't even know their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I come from a rough part of South Philly.
Yeah.
You know, Wilson Park Projects. Like, we had a place called the Breezeways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we come from the Breezeways, and it was cold. You know, so
Literally and figuratively.
It's a thing called cognitive development,
Mm-hmm.
and I just found out about a point system where they add up 10 different categories for youth dysfunction and trauma, and I scored a 10 on that job. The doctor that was speaking about this test, this score, she spoke about the effects of someone that has a 4 score, and that was enough to make people almost cry in it. And for me, to sit in my class today and hear about this test and the score, and to know that I had a 10.
10, yeah.
You know?
You off the chart.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know? So for me to sit here and be able to speak my truth when these people tried to execute an 18-year-old boy who was literally in a 12-year-old boy's body with a fifth grade reading level, you know, with so many sexual, physical, emotional trauma, you know, and they didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't take any of that into consideration. Wow. You know, so that's speaking to those people that comes from the communities other than the ones that we were raised in and that we're living in. So for our elected officials and or candidates to be our elected officials, I see and I believe in One Harrisburg, and as well as individuals that can come in and serve us. And most importantly, not even us, but our future.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe in the people that I support and vote for and petition for. Because when it's that village and that's we have unity, and we're all fighting to not have to fight for life, and just live life together, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, yes. You know, you said a major piece right there. When we don't have to fight for our very existence. Our struggle gets different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Like, you know, I come up from the same way you come up, man. You know, and so like I can really relate to your story, and it's like changing our whole lifestyle and changing our environments. You know what I mean? We kind of get like I ain't gonna lie, I kind of get survival's remorse. You know, it's like, man, I don't supposed to make it. Like, why some of them other good ones didn't make it, and I had to be the one because I felt like I wasn't deserving of that. If you had to speak to not just yourself, but to someone who is on the fence right now. They like, I don't know, man. I see Carlos doing things, you know, starting businesses. I see Bayah doing his thing. You know what I mean? I see other people in the community that come from where I come from. So there's no more excuse. People can't say ain't no more opportunities no more. Honestly, this is the perfect time right now for anybody to start a business, to start anything they want, because the world is restarting. You know, with AI, is leveling the playing field. You don't even really need assistance, or you don't need all of the stuff that you used to need to actually get done what you need to do in half of the time. So there's no excuse for people not being active. But if somebody is still at this point, still thinking and considering like getting in out there and getting active, what would you say to that person right now, to to try to convince them, man, that this is the time, man. We don't got no tomorrow without today.
I'm gonna say it like this, out of all respect to you, bro. But I gotta, start it by saying, youngin, you killing yourself. You out there fighting, thinking you defending and honoring your set, your family, your bloodline, but you killing yourself. For anybody that's providing for their family by the ways and means of crime, you ain't gonna win. End of the day, you on borrowed time. Penitentiary is calling, licking at your neck. You know what I mean? That grave calling. Undertaker fixing things for you. That's what's up. That's what it is. Youngin, you're killing yourself. So anybody that's trying to make a better life for themselves, all you got to do is look inside. Too many of us out here have identity crisis. We don't know who we are genuinely. We know who we want to be, and too many of us want to be the same person. The person that failed, the person that's failing, and that's in retrospect of following these street legends, these hood legends, these neighborhood losers. And it starts with, like I said, us believing that that's all we can be, believing that that's success when it's failure. So get with some people, man. There's 3 extraordinary men in this room right now. Come holler at us. Come get with us. There's some extraordinary, beautiful women in this community.
That's a fact.
Get with them. Join with them. That's how we gonna do this thing. This movement is about uplifting, loving, and supporting. Get out of your own way. And please don't get in ours.
At all. Good advice. Great advice. And I thank you, bro. Love of life, man. We loving life. We doing it, man.
Yeah.
Sure.